Welcome to this week's edition of Jolly Good News Report on this beautiful Saturday morning. And I want to welcome you. I hope you're doing great wherever you are around the world. I start the same way. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. It's just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. And this minute, this moment, this opportunity to share a couple of ideas with you as you go through this day, this weekend, and as you go through this upcoming week. God bless you, and I'm glad you're here. I am excited about being able to be here with you. You know, we started this some months ago in March after the coronavirus hit, and I was overwhelmed with the number of stories I kept hearing about people who were just couldn't handle this anxiety and they needed some good news. And all you heard was bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. And I said, wouldn't it be good to have some good news, some jolly good news from my perspective, the way I see the world? And I wanted to started, and I did on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So people on the West Coast could get access to it, not too early. And then you can watch it as well as a replay on YouTube and on my Facebook page. So want to welcome you. I am grateful for the fact that you've taken out time. Today, I want to talk about what is focused on our life right now. A lot of activity, but also some good news. Now, before I get too far, I always want to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to start a watch party. Start a watch party if you're on Facebook Live. And then for whatever platform you are, I want you to share it and like it and tell your friends and family members about what we're doing, giving you some good news in the midst of bad news. And I am always excited to share with you every week about my XM show. And this week is a doozy. One of the great wealth creators of all time is my guest, Bob Proctor. You saw him on the movie The Secret. He is a well-regarded, world-renowned wealth creation expert and personal and professional development expert. And so he's my guest, and I am so excited about the information he gave about wealth creation, how you can create wealth. And how many of you are ready for some wealth this year? How many are ready? In fact, how many of y'all ready for a good year? Okay. Okay. How many of y'all ready for a real good decade? I need that too. So what we want to do is encourage you to tune into my XM show later today, 4 o'clock Eastern time, channel 141. Channel 141. It will replay and re-air on Tuesday at 6 and again at Thursday at 6 Eastern time, channel 141. And then it will go to podcasts on iHeartRadio, C-Suite Radio, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure one way or the other you get access to all these great interviews that we're doing in these shows that will inspire and encourage and uplift you and help you to do more, be more, and achieve more. So I am excited about that. Now, next, I want to talk about the fact that last Saturday, I told you about an award I was going to be getting, and it is the 2020 American Motivation Award for Lifetime Achievement that was given by the Motivate America organization. Myself and my dear friend, Tony Alessandra, were he's a Hall of Famer as well as I am, and he got the Lifetime Achievement Award as well. And so we had it was a great program. I was really impressed and inspired by it. So I'm grateful for all of you who sent up prayers. If you look on LinkedIn, you can get more information. And if you're on my newsletter, you would have gotten my newsletter yesterday where we actually sent a link to the program and my speech. And I talked about some really hard-hitting subjects in that acceptance speech. We talked about what had changed my life from my childhood to being able to be where I am now as a speaker and a communicator. And I talked about a couple of things. One, talked about my parents. I was blessed with parents who inspired me in two ways. My dad inspired me and encouraged me in terms of entrepreneurism. My mom encouraged me about education. She was a school teacher. My dad was a journalist who had his own company, as well as working for different news agencies. And so we learned about entrepreneurism and about the importance of education. So great parents. Next, about work ethic. My grandmother was they used to call a hairdresser in Philadelphia. I'm not from New York, in Philadelphia. And she had her own shop and with her sister, my aunt Nell, her sister Nell, and it was called Nell Vian's, and my grandmother's name was Vivian. And my grandmother had a work ethic that was second to none. My grandmother died the way I want to go. That's the truth. My grandmother died after working all day, doing heads at 87 years old. Now I want to live a little longer than that. But at 87, she worked all day. She had on her, her hairdressing smock and outfit. She had a pocket full of money. She sat down in her favorite chair and she died. Woo! That's it. I can't imagine anything better than me going to a place and giving a speech and signing some books and taking pictures and having communication with folks and getting a big check and then going somewhere and just sitting down and saying, well, time for me to go on home. And so, but I hope it's a lot later than 87, because I got a lot of life left to live, and I got a lot to do. I got lots left to do. So, but that's the kind of work ethic my grandmother had. She also taught me about integrity and not being selfish. She always said, you don't want to be selfish, Willie. Don't be selfish. Share what you got. Share with others. So I told him I was grateful for my legacy, the legacy that I come from. My parents, my grandparents. Let me tell you about my grandfather. Now, I never met my grandfather, but he left a great legacy for me. His name was Noble Brooks. Now, my grandfather was a trustee at Asbury United Methodist Church in Washington, D.C. at 11th and K Street. That was the church many of you heard about, where the Black Lives Matter sign was torn down and burned by the Proud Boys. And those are interesting title for somebody, Proud Boys. They are little boys, but they shouldn't be proud of that kind of activity. That's hatred, and that's not good. But my grandfather was a trustee at that church, and in front of the church is a historical placard with a picture that was taken in 1926 of the full membership of the church out in front of the church. And my grandfather was seated on the front row next to the bishop. And so he was a person of high esteem. But here's what I learned in the legacy my grandfather left for me. As I was growing up in that church, people would come up to me who knew him, older people, and say the same thing, different people, one after another, different days, different months, different years, and say, if you're half the person your grandfather was in terms of integrity and character, you'll be a great person. What? And you hear it so often. Wow. And I'd ask my mother, what? She said he was a man of integrity and character. She said he was a single dad, because my grandmother, Vivian, she met him when she was 18 years old. She was selling chicken sandwiches in a little country train depot in a place called Keswick, Virginia. They would cook food for the people coming on a train. And of course, Black folks had to sit in the back of the train going south, and there was nowhere to eat. So they would cook meals and sell them at this train depot in Keswick, Virginia. Well, my grandfather was in his 30s, and he worked for the railroad. And he saw this striking, beautiful young woman named Vivian and went heads over heels. Well, he courted her, they got married, and they had my mother. But my grandmother was still not ready to settle down. So after a few years, she said, I'm off, I'm gone. And she went on her way. And it took her a while to mature, but she eventually did and settled down with a college professor in Philadelphia. But my grandfather never remarried, and he raised my mother by himself. What a man of integrity. And I've learned over the years that I want to live a life and leave a legacy that people will talk about my character and my integrity if they've never read any of my books, if they've never seen me on television or heard me on radio or had any inkling of what I did for, say, for a living, or what are the works I created and left after I've gone on. But that they'll say that man had great integrity, and he'll say it to my children's grandchildren. If you can be like your great grandfather or your grandfather or your even your dad. Now, my son is very appreciative of the legacy because he goes places and his name is William, and they'll say, oh, you related to Willie Jolley? He said, yes, that's my dad. And he'll come back and say, Dad, people just speak so highly of you as a person of integrity, not just your speaking. They applaud your speaking in your books, but the character, he's going to be consistent. We've noticed that over the years. So that is a byproduct of Noble Brooks. And so I'm grateful. Now, I want to encourage you to take time to set some standards that you have made up in your mind. This is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay on this. I'm going to have this integrity. I'm going to have this character, and I'm not going to move off of it. It will make a profound impact in your legacy and your life. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit now about goals, because this week we've had a lot going on in America. Whoo, what a week. You know, my wife used to work on Capitol Hill. And so we were glued to the television. We remember her working there as a staffer for 3 congressmen. And we remember William going there, my son, as a little boy, and having friends with the Congress people. They were all friends with William. He's a very gregarious and very friendly guy. And we were just heartbroken by what we saw. But we're grateful that they were not able to hurt any or harm any of the Congress people. We're sorry for the people who lost their life, but none of the Congress people. And that this created a sea change in our country, where people started to say, ho, 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 ho. I can appreciate this or appreciate that, but I cannot get with that. We have to have a standard of excellence, and we have to have a standard of what's right and what's wrong, and not make excuses that, oh, somebody else did this or somebody else was. No, that's wrong. Period. Full stop. And then whatever side of the aisle you're on, Democrat or Republican, that you're able to find some common ground so that we can get this process of being America, the United States of America. And for those overseas, you'll know that we hopefully pride ourselves in being united. When 9/11 happened, people were united, and in tough times, people come together. So we hope that everybody will come together. Now, let's talk about goals, though. I want to get to goals, and I want to thank God for those people who were able to survive that situation in Capitol Hill. Goals. A goal is a dream with a deadline. What are the difference between dreams and goals? I'm often asked. Well, goals are an outgrowth of your dreams. They are the stepping stones to your dreams. A goal is simply a dream with a deadline. Let's say you're dreaming to go to law school. A goal is when you commit to a period of time in which you're going to make that dream into a reality. You have now focused the dream and make it into a reality. The renowned speaker, Zig Ziglar, had a great analogy that talks about focus. He says that you take a magnifying glass, you can ignite a fire with that magnifying glass on a pile of leaves. If you will concentrate the power of the sun through the glass at a focused specific spot, and do not move that magnifying glass. Goals help you to focus your dreams and make you specify when you want to achieve them. They are stepping stones to make your dreams come true. The key is to dream big dreams, think big thoughts, and then take action to make those dreams into attainable, reachable goals, and then make those goals into manifested realities. For my book, It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Now, one of the things I want to do is to help you set goals this year that will change your life, that will change your finances, your health, your wealth, your family, your legacy. So I'm going to give you an exercise. I want you to do it. And it's called the dream exercise. How do you get to your dreams? Because many times people have dreams, but they've forgotten about them because of something that had happened when they were a child. Maybe somebody told you, stop dreaming, get real. But I want you to reconnect with your dreams so that you can make those dreams into great realities. I did my annual goal setting seminar last January for the first time as a virtual online webinar, because many people in Australia, New Zealand, and China, and Japan, South Africa were saying, we want to come to your goal setting seminar, but we can't get there physically. So we, not knowing that the big pandemic was coming a couple months later, and that everybody would be online, we did something that was new. We got a company to come in and put it online so people could access it, and then we recorded it. Well, this year we've spiced it up a little bit, and we've now got it available again. And one of the exercises I share in this is the power of reconnecting with your goals and dreams, or real big dreams, really, your dreams. How do you get back to those dreams after many years? Well, the exercise is this, and I want you to do this exercise today. Do it today. And then I'm going to encourage you also to go to the goal setting website and get the whole seminar. It's about 4 hours long. It is fantastic. It's the best goal setting seminar I've done ever. And I have had some great success stories. I tell the story often about Angie. Angie came to one of the early goal setting seminars, and she almost had to be dragged there because she didn't think it made any difference for her future to set goals. She came to the seminar with her friends, and while everybody else was going through the exercises writing, she was just sitting there. I said, did you finish? No. Did you do it? No. Why not? It's not going to make any difference. I'm a high school GED recipient. I've never been to college. I work in a dead-end job. My friends brought me, but I no use in wasting time to doing this. I said, what does not going to college have to do with your success? She said, well, you can't be successful if you don't go to college. I said, oh, really? That's your paradigm. We got to change that paradigm, because see, Steve Jobs never finished college. Started Apple, billionaire. Bill Gates never finished college, billionaire. Joel Osteen, you know him, he didn't finish college. There are lots of people who didn't finish college. Dave Thomas, I spoke for Wendy's Hamburgers, you remember? She said, yes, I spoke for him. He never went to college. So it doesn't make a difference. College will help you, but it doesn't make a difference if you are desiring and your dreams are high enough and big enough and you're clear on your goals. She said, really? I said, yeah. And so she started working on her goals. Well, we decided to have the Goal 7 seminar every month to make sure everybody stayed on track. And we had these people come every month to this hotel ballroom. And the next month she came and said, when I went home and told my family about my goals, they laughed at me. I knew this was, I said, no. Understand that people will laugh at you and keep laughing at you until you start having success. And they'll say, oh, I knew it all along. I saw it in you all along. Oh, yeah. Just keep going. It's don't let people stop you, your family members. Look, many people suffer from possibility blindness because somebody else didn't do it or someone else couldn't do it. They assume you can't do it, but you can do this. Really? Yeah. Start working again. Came the third month, fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, and then she disappeared. We had our gathering the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th month, but she wasn't there. She just disappeared. Well, about a year later, I get a call one day in my office, and the phone rang, and it was Angie. He said, Willie, I'm so sorry. I skipped out, but I was so fired up. I had never been through anything like that. I'd never experienced anything like that. I never thought those kind of thoughts. I just didn't know it was possible. I was so excited. I got busy. I went to work on my goals. Once I figured them out, I went to work, and I just couldn't stop. I was traveling. I couldn't get there. She said, but I want you to know I really appreciate it. And they worked. Are you going to be home this week? I said, yeah. Are you going to be home on Thursday? Yeah. I want you to turn on the television on Thursday afternoon. I want you to watch the Oprah Winfrey show. She's doing a show about millionaires under the age of 40, and I'm being featured. She had become a millionaire in less than 2 years, from GED to millionaire. And the story continues. She now has gone on to get her doctorate. This is many years ago. So last time I saw her, she lives in North Carolina now. I was with the Get Motivated tour, and she came to the tour, she and her husband, and she has her doctorate now. And so it just shows you have built a multi-million-dollar company. So it shows you what's possible when you set powerful, empowering goals. So I want to help you to set your goals. We're going to do this exercise. Went to the doctor today. Doctor said, I got good news and bad news. I'll give you the bad news first. Bad news is you got 1 year to live. Have a very rare illness that guarantees in 1 year, 1 year from today, you're going to die. 9th of January, you're going to die. There's very rare illness, though. Very rare illness. It also guarantees that anything you attempt, anything you try in the next 364 days, you will achieve. It's impossible for you to fail. What 10 things would you attempt if you could not fail? Right now, after this show, I want you to sit down with a piece of paper or a pad or your iPad or iPhone and put down 10 things you would attempt if you could not fail. I really like them if you write them on a piece of paper. There's something about writing I still like. Something about writing. Now, my son, he does this all the time, but something about writing and writing these goals down and then placing those goals somewhere where you see them for the next 30 days and read those goals every day, those dreams every day. Don't edit it. Don't say, oh, that's outrageous. No, I want you to think as outrageous as you can think, as crazy as you can think. If you could not fail, what 10 things would you attempt if you only had 364 days to live? What would you attempt if you could not fail? Write them down. They will have a profound impact on your thinking. You will be amazed how difficult. Now, I want you to go get the goal setting because there's a couple of more steps, and then I just don't have time to go into those steps to really help you take it to the next level in terms of developing it. But if you'll go to wjspeaks.com/goals, wjspeaks.com/goals. And if you go right now, today, the day there's $100 discount, and you get $100 worth of resources that you can download, the workbook, journal, guide, and all of this is online. So go to wjspeaks.com/goals. It's usually the whole package of $197 is $100 off today. Do not miss this. This week it's $100 off, and that's going to was supposed to be for just a week, but I'm asking to keep it a couple of days longer so y'all can take advantage of it. So again, wjspeaks.com/goals. Now, I also want to talk to you about your vision. You know, the vision is a powerful concept. Now, when people talk about vision, you really think eyesight, but Eyesight is not necessary for you to have success. You must have vision. Scripture says, without a vision, a people perish. But with a vision, a people will flourish. What's your vision? Well, you got to have a vision. Now, what's the vision? What is a vision? What that's to define it. Is it eyesight? No. Eyesight is not necessary for you to be able to do great things. Stevie Wonder, Jose Feliciano, Ray Charles proved that. And Helen Keller, I love this quote from Helen Keller. Someone asked her, she was born normal, and then she had a illness as a child, lost her hearing and her sight. She was deaf and blind, but she went on to become one of the greatest women of all time. And she was asked in an interview one day after coming across from a speaking and a tour overseas, is there anything worse than blindness? She said, yes. Having sight but no vision. Every time I say that, turns me on. Now, look, you got to have vision. Now, that's not necessarily eyesight. Then how about hindsight? Knowing what happened in the past? Well, it's good to know what happened in the past so you won't repeat the mistakes of the past. The problem with the past is most people get stuck in the past. They talk about the past, dwell on the past, what somebody did to them 20 years ago, how somebody did them wrong, and they get focused on that past experience and can't go forward because of the past. Look, the past is supposed to be a place of reference, not a place of residence. You're not supposed to live there. You're supposed to go there every now and then. Look, there's a reason in your car why your windshield's this big and your rearview mirror is this big. You're supposed to keep more time on where you're going, looking at where you're going than where you've been. That's what I want you to focus on, where you're going. It's not eyesight. It's not hindsight. It's a mixture of two sights. Insight and foresight. Insight, that still small voice within us that gives us direction, protection, introspection, reflection. Now, everybody has that inner voice. Some people call it intuition, but most people turn the volume down. And they don't listen to their own inner voice. They listen to all the negative outer voices that tell you can't do it, it's not possible. And they dwell on those, but never listen to their inner voice because they've turned the volume down. I say turn the volume up and listen to that inner voice. And you take that inner voice and you mix it with your foresight. So you got eyesight, no. Hindsight, no. Insight, yes. And then foresight, calling forth those things that be not as though they are, speaking into your life what you want to be, speaking good into your family, speaking good into your finances, speaking good into your health, speaking good into your future, speaking good. Call forth those things that be not as though they are, and you'll start to see greater success, greater achievement in your mind because you'll start speaking what's possible. And when you speak it and you mix that foresight and that hindsight, your foresight and insight and put it together, you got a powerful thing. That's where your dreams start to grow inside of you. Follow your dream wherever it leads. Don't be distracted by less worthy needs. Shelter it, nourish it, help it to grow. Hold your dream deep, down deep where dreams grow. Follow your dream, pursue it with haste. Life is too precious, too fleeting to waste. Be faithful, be loyal, and all the day through, the dream that you follow will keep coming true. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Look, if this is a blessing to you, go to jollygoodnews.org, jollygoodnews.org, and make a donation. We want to thank all of you who've been donating. We want to make this something that we can take to television. We need help from friends like you to be able to raise the funds to take it to traditional television. Some people still are not watching online. So we want to make sure we have it on regular television so they can turn it on and they can be accessing it. And we want to bless people who are struggling with some of the things like food insecurity. We're making a donation to some programs to help people with food insecurity. So be a blessing to us, and we'll continue to be a blessing to others. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Thank you for watching the Jolly Good News Report. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this blessed you, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Tell Lottie, Dottie, and everybody to make sure to tune in every morning, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Remember, your best is yet to come. God bless you.